All right, welcome everyone to the fourth episode of the AdvisorTech Book Podcast. Today we have Ryan George and Nora Gallegos. I hope I said that right.
Yeah,
With
it's Gallegos.
What was that?
It's pronounced Gallegos.
Gallego. Okay. With PreciseFP. So welcome, guys.
Hello.
It's great to be here, Joe. Great to help be a part of the beginning of a new great venture for you.
There you go.
Mhm.
Well, I'm thrilled to have your guys' support in one of the early podcast episodes. All right, so I like to get started asking about either a book or a technology that you've been using recently that's been incredibly insightful or helpful or interesting. Ryan, do you want to go first?
So book, I am a history nerd, and I have a very thick set of books about the Anglo-Saxons that I have been reading. So if you want to know anything about sort of Middle Ages England, I'm your guy.
Heck yeah.
That's cool.
What about you, Nora? What are you reading these days? Do you find time with three little ones to read?
Yeah. Yeah, not very often. I am reading The Mountain Is You by Brianna. It's about kind of self-sabotage and getting out of your own way.
That's cool. I think I've seen that on Audible pop up once or twice. How about technology? What's cool these days?
So I'm really diving into what I would say is diving into Claude and other AI tools. So I did a demo of about 8 or 9 different technology, like SDR technology tools over like the third quarter. And what I found myself was I was like, I don't need to start with that expensive tool. Let's just do some data targeting, some data sourcing. So I've been using our Enterprise Claude, Enterprise ChatGPT to really help our SDR team identify target customers, how to speak to them, even do like uploading all of our marketing materials into the machine and being able to create like outbound sequences from it. So that's been helpful on our end.
That's really cool. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things about Claude recently. I've been using ChatGPT mainly just because it was like free and then it was my go-to. But I
Yeah,
need to get on Claude.
yeah. Claude is it's funny how because I use Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT in different ways. And it's just like other things. Like you find out, okay, Gemini's good for this, Claude's better for this, ChatGPT's better for this. Like they're all just you trying to identify how to best use the tool.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. How about you, Nora?
Yeah, same thing as you, Joe. My best friend is definitely ChatGPT recently. And then I just love social media technology as well. Things like TikTok, LinkedIn, those are definitely my favorite.
That's cool. No, I'm a huge LinkedIn fan, as you can
Yeah.
probably tell. Cool. All right. Well, let's get into the meat of the podcast. What's a little of the background of PreciseFP and how it's grown in the data gathering category?
Yeah, so PreciseFP is sort of the grandpa or grandma of client data gathering. It's been around for more than a decade. It was started by Sebastian Skororek and Don Whalen, and they built the tool. They would, went from conference to conference. I think Don had his RV, and we would just drive from different FBA events to help build the community. And what they have found is that just simple things like being able to gather information from the clients was this continued problem. So PreciseFP built out a strong user base. So we, as Docupace, acquired PreciseFP in October of 2021, and since then we are almost at 6,000 users, active users, and we're at over 1,700 active advisory firms on the platform. And so we've been happy to see that platform grow pretty consistently. And now there's a couple of things that I can't mention. I'll be able to mention wink, wink, in maybe the coming months about some large enterprises that will be opening up PreciseFP to all of their advisors. And that's something that will really is like the next phase of transformation for what the platform is seeing it be used by these large groups. And then some
Oh,
of the
that's
stuff
great.
Nora's going to show today is the really, I think, probably one of the biggest rollouts of enhancements that we've had in multiple years that we just released 2 weeks ago.
Nice. Yeah, no, I signed up for that webinar yesterday, and then I was like, well, they're going to be on today. I'll probably just spend my time on something else.
You're going to see it in live action. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Sweet. All right. Well, do we want to hop into the demo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nora, why don't you take it
definitely.
away?
Yeah, I'll take it away here. I am going to open up my screen with PreciseFP. You'll notice there is a brand new look here. It is a lot more polished, fun, clean, modern. If you sign up for a free trial with PreciseFP, you're going to get 14 free days to go ahead and jump in here. Your trial will turn into your subscription. So I would suggest to go in and turn on your integrations. If you go to settings on the left, you can click on the integrations tab here and turn on your integrations. If I click on the partners page here, you'll notice we are almost at 40 different integrations. So PreciseFP really serves nicely as a kind of like a powerhouse for data where you're going to be able to communicate to clients effectively, conveniently, securely, and offer that premier firm experience to collect data and maintain good, clean data. And then that good, clean data is going to be able to go to a number of the partners here. So you're going to be able to eliminate data entry, eliminate rekeying data from software to software, and just make sure that, if client A talks to client B, they can say that they had the same experience. So you could turn on your integrations. And then if you go to the templates on the left, we can go into the form library. What I absolutely love about PreciseFP is you can hit the ground running. We, like Ryan said, have been in the business for almost 20 years. So you'll notice we have about 60 pre-baked templates that come with your system. So these might be service-based templates. They may be product-based templates. A lot of them will also be optimized to different integrations. So we might have a wealth box optimized template or a Right Capital optimized template that you can use. And there's also things in here like a risk tolerance questionnaire. This is amazing to use. It is the original one that was developed by the professors to gauge risk tolerance. This is complementary with your system. So we do not nickel and dime you. You're going to pay one subscription price and have access to all of the features. So definitely you could hit the ground running by just taking one of these templates. Most commonly, people are going to go based on the integration that they're using. If they're using eMoney or Redtail, they might go ahead and pick those ones. But super easy. You just click on a template and choose install. And as soon as you install it, now it will go into your templates area for you to go ahead and customize this form. Now, if I choose customize here, it is a really great template right off of the bat. But what we really suggest here as your front end work is just to go in and brand everything and make sure that it looks like it's coming from your office and your team. So we've seen people put here their logo, their headshot, maybe a nice team picture with everyone, there on the welcome page saying hi to the client virtually. You're going to be able to put in a video if you want. So you're going to want to make sure that this looks and feels like it's coming from you. And there is this water drop icon in the top right-hand corner. That is going to be called your theme, where you can go ahead and put in your brand hex codes. You can change the font. You could change the size. Maybe you serve a population that likes the font size to be a lot larger. You could go ahead and put the into the details here, and it'll go ahead and adjust from that point forward. And like we teased earlier, one of the newest features that we're so excited about is the AI feature. So you'll notice this sparkle icon throughout the platform, and that is going to allow you to update things using AI. So typically, if you wanted to add in different language, you wanted to put in your logo and headshot, you wanted to use macros, you wanted to put in a download or you wanted to provide a download, you would have to be using these plus icons that will allow you to use different elements. And we kind of eliminated the need to have to do that manually by using AI. So I really found a good use case in using the AI feature inside of an engagement is to personalize it to each client. So now instead of just having a general introduction of, we're glad you're working with us, let's get the account process started, you can really magic that up and be really specific, like I'm sending this to Bob. Bob is a lawyer. He lives in Phoenix. He loves the Phoenix Suns.
Ooh, go Spurs.
He wants estate planning services. Or provide text that is very warm and friendly, whatever you would want to go ahead and put here to represent your office. You
This
can
is
put that
cool.
here.
I feel like you hit the button and something magical is going to happen.
I know, exactly. There's like confetti that just starts popping off on the screen, right?
Yep.
So that's going to take a second here and it's going to adjust that language based on the criteria that I wrote. And we have a really great webinar that we covered yesterday going more in depth with this. And I even showed how I can use ChatGPT to go ahead and provide me with more powerful prompts. I just really quickly typed in that prompt on a whim, but you can use ChatGPT to enhance that even further. But you'll notice here how great this turned out. You'll notice it is super personal to Bob. It is going to account for all of the things that we've talked about so far in our relationship. And it's almost going to provide those warm and fuzzies to him and make him feel like he's the only client that you're working with. So, it talks briefly about the connection, about the Phoenix Suns living in Phoenix, and kind of gives him next steps on going through this. And you'll notice there's Go Suns there at the very end. So Ryan, if the AI said it, it's got to be real, right?
Sure.
But I would even take this further. Maybe you want to provide your contact information. If you have any questions, Bob, reach out to us at this phone number, this email address. Here's our website. You could just type in that information and it's going to provide that for you. So super easy, took just a few seconds. I would just say from here, you might want to work on some of the spacing. Maybe you want those paragraphs to be spaced out a little bit more. You could go ahead and do that there. Maybe you don't like this graphic at all. Super easy to just remove it altogether. And most commonly, you're going to put your logo or your photo here. So you could just choose on that option and it'll go ahead and create that for you there. So ton of power there where, you don't have to just use the template as is. You could just make it personalized to each client. And then you'll notice the rest of the template is built out. This one is a custodial onboarding template that's very general. So it's going to be gathering most of that DNA of client information that you need to get started in opening a new account. And you'll notice that there are those asterisks next to some of those fields. That is making that field required. So they have to fill out that field in order to move forward. So it's going to be super helpful not running into NIGOs later. when you have those required fields, but just be strategic in this as well. Maybe you want to do this in digestible chunks and just gather basic information in the beginning, and then you can pre-fill future forms with the information you already have on Bob to continue to collect data. So the idea in this perfect world scenario is Bob will fill out his own information, and then that good, clean data is going to come to you in preparation for your meetings. And then it's going to go to all of those integrations that I showed earlier. It'll create new records if Bob does not exist in your CRM or your financial planning software, or it will update records if Bob is in your Redtail, is in your Wealth Box, and he changes something or you add something during your meeting. It'll update all of those fields inside of Wealthbox or Redtail, eMoney, Right Capital, just with a click of a button.
This is really important and useful. One of the things that having more than 5,000 users on the platform is you get lots of feedback about what works well and what doesn't. And one of the common themes with people signing up for the platform is they like the customizability of the engagements, but sometimes it can be difficult to not know where to start. Like, how do I get started with an engagement? So this is what we found to be an easy way that can slingshot people forward, and they're not having to have them have a deep knowledge of the platform.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's great. I'm excited to hear about your integrations with some of the note takers as well, and what kind of data you're pulling and pushing
Yep.
from there.
Yeah, I love the note taker integrations because it uses my favorite word right now of extracting data from those meetings. So, right in your conversation with your clients, it'll pull the data that you're talking about during your meeting. So, let's say Bob has a daughter named Dina. That will be collected through that AI note taker. That AI note taker will push it into PreciseFP, and what we're seeing is people will then pre-fill a form with all of the information that was gathered during that meeting and then send it to Bob. And that's really helpful because maybe the AI note taker spelled Dina D-E or D-I-N-A, but she actually spells her name D-E-E-N-A. It gives Bob the opportunity to see that, very quickly change the spelling of that name, and then you have that good data moving forward.
Sweet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think in general, Joe, we've taken the approach of um, integrate with everybody, as Nora said. So like work with everybody as much as we can, and then these new tools that are coming up, they're coming up with like a part of the data, and then PreciseIP is being used to catch the rest of the data. So the data set together with the two tools really has become sort of, I think, probably the best in the business, and that's regardless of the source. So whether it's like a flex track that's gathering information, or a Leah, or a Zox and a Jump, whether their information like PreciseIP can come alongside them and collect whatever's missing or validate whatever is needed. And I think that's we just published a white paper with Zox about that, like how to basically how to best use the tools together. And I think that will be something that we'll continue to press on, as far as there's not one tool that can solve all the problems, but if you learn how to work with them together, then it can be beneficial.
Yeah, no, I'll have to check that out. I'm very interested to read that.
Yeah, and there's no surprises to clients. All of this is branded with your logo and your representative front, right? So they're not going to see, a fidelity form or something and kind of wonder, why am I filling that out? It's going to all stay housed within your brand, your logos, your templates, so that way the clients feel that one front.
Oh, that's super cool. It's interesting. I was just filling out some LLC paperwork today, but normally I've gone like right to the state's website to do those kind of things. But today I used a third party, and the experience is just so much smoother when you're using, you're putting all the same data in, but it's in like a much easier to use format than the states and governments typically have.
Well, that's what I mean. This is what Docupace has been doing for almost 3 decades now, in terms of taking that information that is, a stack of PDFs and forms that need to be filled, and being able to make that where you enter one name, Joe, and it populates Joe throughout the packet. Like that's
Right.
that's been a sort of our bread and butter going back. Nora, do
Yeah.
you have anything else you want to show about the new stuff? I know that you want to talk about the UI changes a little bit, just because that's something that's new. I know you covered that yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see people using PreciseFP as a service agreement solution, a source to deliver documents, a way to obtain documents as well. You'll notice that in this form, they're asking for a recent statement to be uploaded. You can use it for eSignature, Form CRS, IPS, disclosures. Um, there's a pipeline, web publisher. All of that is included in your subscription. And with the new look, you could always toggle it on and off, but you'll notice that, it just looks more polished. There's more high contrast. There's larger fonts. So it just is nicer to use now. And using that AI, let's say we want to add in some suitability questions here. I mentioned in my webinar yesterday how I have a running Word document of some prompts that I use. So even here, maybe you want to ask those suitability questions here within the form, like tax rate, what's your number of years experience investing, what are your liquidity needs. You can make that into a prompt as well using ChatGPT if you want. But this is a way where you can say, I want it to be a numeric field, a text field, a drop down. I want it to be required or not required. And same thing here within a moment here, it'll go ahead and take all of the information that I put in that prompt and create a brand new page and tack it on to this template. So it really allows you to use one link to go ahead and gather the client data. They can put in, or you could put in the risk tolerance questionnaire in here. You can add those suitability questions. You could even embed your calendar here at the very end of the engagement. So that way it's going to send this one link to your clients. They're going to be able to put in their data, get you all of the information that you need, suitability and compliance wise, and then even schedule a time and date with you without ever leaving the page.
Does it integrate with Calendly, or what's the calendar feature?
Yeah, the calendar options, we have all of them listed here. We have Calendly as an option.
Reminder.
GReminders is super popular. Yeah,
Um,
super easy to do that as well. Let's say I just want to add in a new page that says book a date and time with me. You can create that, and even you could have the AI create it instead of typing it in. But then you could go ahead and put in the calendar from your GReminders. And what that'll do as well is you could either, have this engagement or the calendar for onboarding or client review, depending on what this engagement is about, and put that specific calendar in here if your availability changes.
Nice.
I think one thing that's worth pointing out, because I know there's sensitivity around client data and AI, and I think it's important to point out that the AI is being used to generate the form template. It's not commingling with the client data. So, because it's not going and mining the client data for answers, you're telling it what to mine. And so I think that's just if the question comes up, that's a good thing to point out, is that the AI is really just becoming a content creation for which forms to fill. Um, it's not like looking at the insight, looking and creating insights from the client data.
What are your guys' thoughts on AI being given like client data to train on, even if it's like redacted or something?
We haven't done that as a business just yet. I think we, as an enterprise, um, we're working through a proof of concept with one of our clients who wanted to be sort of a beta tester in terms of what we can do with. We partner with a company called Palantir that has like a platform that we can build and like basically use as a builder's mode.
Yeah.
But that to do so, we signed a special confidentiality agreement, special usage of data. So it was sort of on top of what our existing general MSA is. So we'll see. I think every firm is going to be careful. And we work with majority of our clients are large enterprise firms, so they probably have the most risk in their business. If I have because they have the most clients, they have the most risk. So you probably see them to be a little bit slower to move. But we're ready to meet them where they are in terms of what they're ready for, and we can sort of slowly bring them along. The ones
That's
that are early adopters clearly will have more access to newer, different tools. But we totally understand that that's not everybody's ready to move at 100 miles an hour.
yeah.
What do you think, Joe? I mean, I'm sure this comes up in your conversations a lot.
Well, I mean, um, Mark Heinen was going around the Advise AI conference and like interviewing people at the booths and saying like, "Are you using client data to train your AI?" And everyone was like, "Oh no, no, we're not doing that." Um, and I think that's like the right answer, but I think the reality is like all this data is so readily available, and it would surprise me if firms or companies did not start using it to train and use it in good ways, not in like nefarious ways.
Yeah, so like one thing, interesting thing to look at it. So like Jump recently acquired a mobile assistant, and at first you think, well, what do those two have to do with each other? But what does mobile assistant have that others don't? It's 2 decades worth of transcribed client advisor conversations that can be used for all sorts of training on the LLM, right? Like whether it's anonymized or what have you. But like there's some interesting things there that you could take away, like because they were the only ones, right, who had that depth of conversations over that time period. So like there's definitely tangible value in mining these like historical records, but just trying to find out again the comfortability level and how you can be safe doing so.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I've wondered, I think other people wondered too, was it the data that was valuable or was it the user base or a combination of the two probably?
Probably a combination of both, I would imagine. I'm not speaking with Corey directly. I bet it's probably both.
Yeah.
Nora, what else
All
you got?
right. Yeah, I know once when you guys were talking, I had AI create a additional form. This one was a survey. So, even in this case, we have a women's investor and education event, and PreciseFP quickly created a survey for it. You can have this distributed after the event as a follow-up and kind of a lead magnet to continue to service those people that attended. So really quickly, AI made this form using PreciseFP. And then from here, you could even embed it onto your website. You can include it as a link inside of your email signature or a broadcast email to just get this one survey out to the masses very quickly.
That's pretty cool.
Nora, I see
Yeah,
you have
so
the right capital mapping table up. Were you going to dive into that as well?
Yeah, we do have mapping tables to correspond with each integration. So that'll visually represent all of the fields that move back and forth between the platform. So if I scroll down here, you'll notice there are a ton of fields. So it's really a deep integration with the software partners that you see. It's not going to be, the 10 to 20 fields that sync between the platform. We're looking at more than 100 fields on this page, for example. So all of these fields you would not have to rekey, and you would not have to run into any human error of copying and pasting, or someone put 700,000 and it was 800,000. All of that data will continue to go to your whole entire tech stack.
That's great. Yeah, when I do consulting with advisor tech companies and they're looking to integrate with the financial planning tools, I'm always like, "Oh, just go to PreciseFP first," and because they already have that built.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting point. A couple of things that I think it's worth mentioning in that
Yeah.
regard is, one of the reasons you'll ask somebody, hey, what CRM do you use? And they say, oh, we use this CRM because we're stuck with so and so because we've been using forever. PreciseFP actually can unstick you in terms of being able to transfer from one financial planning tool to another or one CRM to another because of the ability that it has to transfer the data. So, like, we're basically trying to set the market free from being, tied into their CRM because that's probably what the number one or two things why people don't move a CRM is because they just don't want to go through the pain of doing so. And the mapping tables and PreciseFP's integration, it's much easier to do so.
Have people used PreciseFP like that as a way to pull data out of a CRM and then move it somewhere?
Yes, we've actually seen it both with PreciseFP and with Hubly, because Hubly sits on another product of ours, sits on top of a Redtail or a Wealth Box,
Right.
and so basically you can do so that way.
No, that's super interesting.
We have
I was demoing another tool this morning that's it's in a different country right now, but they're doing something similar where they sit on top of a CRM and over time they take all the data out and then the CRM is no longer needed, which is it's just an interesting
yeah,
play.
I talked to a gentleman at the Schwab Impact Conference a while ago, and he owned two. I think he owned what was now Smart Office and Redtail, and he's owned them both for like I think he said 6 years, but he hasn't been able to fully transfer it. It's like I think we can help you with that. It's like can't
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, one CRM is hard enough to keep up with. Trying to do like
Yeah.
playing both pools, it would be just a total nightmare.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
I pulled up the pipeline feature here. I love the pipeline as well, just because it's kind of a set it and forget it type experience. So these are kind of almost automations where you're creating if then statements. Like if somebody completes the risk tolerance questionnaire, then I want them to fill out this form. So there are a number of them that come default with the system pre-baked, but you can customize this further if you wanted to build your own experience. Maybe your fact finder through the client journey is 5 different forms, but each form is only 1 or 2 pages. You could have that done sequentially. And what's really nice is you're not going to be chasing adults on completing their forms. There is periodic reminders built in that you can set to different increment of days, so that way it'll automatically nudge them and give them a reminder that they need to complete the form until it's done. And you are completely in charge of that language or the email that is going to be sent out, so that way it gets the job done. And if I go to the engagements area, this is going to show all of the live engagements that are in action right now. And advisors love this page because they're going to be able to see visually where their clients are in the process. So they can see when somebody started something, when they stopped. You can see here Taylor is 18% done. Maybe you can have someone from the office call Taylor at this point and jump on a Zoom with her and collect the rest of the information on her behalf by just going into the form and filling out the rest for her. But this will visually show you where everyone is in the process.
Yeah, I think that's a crucial feature for advisors who want, or expect even like operational staff who want to check in to see, you know, how much the client has done and how far they've come in terms of what their task has been. And so that it's an easy way to do so without having to call the client and say, "Hey, where are you on this?" Like you can actually see, "Oh, this person's a third of the way done."
Yeah.
Have you guys looked into like enriching client data at all using a wealth feed or um what's the other one? Clado, Apollo, that kind of thing?
We haven't. It hasn't moved too far on us. I know like Finney's using like a similar thing in terms of part of the data feeds they pull in. I mean, I think we're approaching it with sort of an all eyes open approach thus far. Because just because the amount of publicly available data has grown so much, I think the USPS database was something that we're tying in within the next quarter or so, and then and just going from there. Right, a lot of that comes from what we're trying to do with Palantir at the moment, and see
Okay.
what we can take from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
what you got, Nora?
Yeah, this is what I mean by customizing those emails. This is an office that I worked with that they tell their clients or their prospects in this case that by the time they get home, they're going to have a message in their inbox and they're going to have a link to start this form. But I love this example of an email because you'll notice how very clear and communicative this office is. There is a numbered list of all of the things that they want from this person before they even click on the link. So that way they can kind of see the expectation of time or statements that they'll need to get before they even click on that link. But it really sets you up as that premier firm. Just do not use pen and paper or fillable PDFs. You can do it all using the emails and the platform and just give that Ritz-Carlton type experience.
Yeah, don't make them guess, right?
Oh yeah, that's great. That's onboarding is super painful. I think I saw Libby Grave would just did a talk at Schwab. I think it was Schwab about the onboarding process.
Yeah,
I'll have to find out more about that.
it's pretty. I mean, universally, I think it's painful.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's important. It's also new, right? So, like, it's think of it as like the first couple of dates you have with a spouse or a significant other. Like, you want to put your best, like you don't tell your bad stories, you tell your good stories because you want to put your
Sure.
best face forward. And so, this is similar when an advisors dealing with their clients, especially. I think, like Nora shows, showing up with the firm branding, showing up professional. I think even those little touch points really matter in terms of building that trust at the onset.
Yeah, and it's so awkward being like, "Hey, what's your spouse's account balance?" Or, "What is your beneficiary breakdown for your 3 kids?" It kind of puts them on the spot and doesn't allow them the time and space that they need to think about things, where this really gives them that time and space and, doesn't feel so awkward or break that momentum.
Right. Yeah. Any more detail you want to go into on the integrations? I know you guys have a lot of very deep integrations, and you're
Just
adding new ones all the time.
yeah, this year we've added FlexTrack, we've added Focal, we've added Zox. Can may have been late last year, and we're also continuing to enrich them as well. So like that, I think, like I mentioned earlier, our approach is to be able to like send capture and send data to different systems because we think that's where we can add value to the user's life. And so we're continuing to find building. And what I will say to the audience is a lot of these integrations are actually built by the partner tech integrations used through our API structure. So, like, if you want to get on the list and you have a team that can do the development, like Zox did or others, we're certainly open to it, right? Like, just reaching out to our team, we can put you down that path because I think we're interested in building this list out. The financial planning tools and the CRMs have historically been very important integration partners for us. But now, as tech is changing and new entrants are coming into the space, we want to make sure that we invite them into the pool as well.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, I think it was episode 2 where I was talking with some fellas about, like having 3 screens, like your communication screen, your custodian screen, and then like what that middle screen could be. And I think it's interesting because I feel like PreciseFP also fills a role in that middle screen, just pulling data from a bunch of different sources and then doing things with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I I don't know if that was the original path the platform was on, but I do think it has become a real focal point of where we spend our development time and other things. Is making sure we have integrations that work, making sure we have and they're easy to connect with each other as well. I think nor don't you have basically have to do is credential in into the system, and then there may be some mapping that you need to do if it's detailed, but it's very easy to add them.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you just click on what you want to add and then choose enable this integration. It'll ask for those login credentials and then that connection is made. So very quick and easy and pain free. No codes, no 15-digit numeric, alphanumeric, numbers and letters to put in. It's just that.
So I want to point out something while you're on the screen. That little icon on the bottom right of the screen is the chat. I was pulling some statistics in our support team and for Precise Support is awesome. They have a 100% response rate for messages less than 40 seconds, which is, if you ever are anywhere in the platform and need help, like knowing that that team of experts is there to give you white glove service within 30 seconds, I think is pretty awesome that they're able to do so. They know the tool so well. Most of the people on that team have been doing it for some time, and I've probably answered the question that you have in your head.
Yeah.
Joe, do you want to
Yeah,
talk
no, that's
about
great.
the overall category for your book, for the AdvisorTech book, the sort of the general client data gathering? Because I think that's interesting to me because there's been quite a bit of changes.
Yeah, no, happy to. Let me pull that up. Wrong community. Yeah, no, so it's a well, let's start with the Kits' map and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
So I always like to sort first by the adoption rate so I can kind of see market share. You guys have been leader in market share for many years. Um, and then I like to look at the satisfaction scores as well.
Yeah, I mean the adoption rate. I think seeing being in the top there. I think to me that matters in a couple of ways. One, not only are we able to like attract people to the platform, but also we're able to keep them. Like our churn rate is like just at 2%, which is really low for the amount of users we have. And I think that's been important. It's important symbol for us that we're meeting the support that the clients need, and the product is matching what the market needs. I think this particular year we've seen a bit of an AI fever of people like. I mean, how many conversations that didn't include AI did you have about tech this year? I mean, they all seem to all have that, and that's not what we had in the platform. And so I think sometimes people were maybe seeking AI-based tools, but like as I mentioned before, how we've looked to leverage AI is to make life easier on the user, and I think that's maybe a different approach than some of the others. Other ones are really focused on like mining data and sort of coming with outcomes and things. Like we're trying to actually use it to personalize and customize the client experience for the advisor.
Yeah, so at the beginning of this year when I was writing the book, I was really trying to just pick one per category, but this for the 2026 book, I think I'm gonna list two or three in certain
You're
categories.
writing another book?
I am writing another book, yeah.
Are you going to get
Um,
using AI to do it? No, I'm just kidding.
no, no, that's a good thing. I actually think not using AI is a competitive advantage right now in creative writing, not necessarily in like
Yeah.
the prompting and the making things better, but like writing a book that you're going to put on Amazon, it should probably be in your words.
Yeah,
At least that's my opinion.
I agree. I think Nora and I are both content creators, and I think we would fully agree with that. The human is still the unique differentiator in any sort of content, because it leverages your experience that the AI just doesn't have.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I was super impressed with tax status, just the ability to get data directly from the IRS. I was like, wow, that is really cool. I've also been really impressed with FlexTract and the ability to, get data from documents and build out profiles. But just the demo today, seeing how you guys kind of sit in the middle of all these different data gathering sources and then can push to so many different tools. The reality is that no advisor tech stack looks the same. Like everybody's using slightly different combinations of tools, and PreciseFP is a great way to push that data around.
Yeah, I mean, we're fine being in the middle. We're also fine not being a tool that you spend your day in, right? Like we're a tool that you use for a specific purpose and then move on to something else. The mentioned FlexTrack, I know like Leah and I know a few others that do the data, like Virgil, does statement extraction from forms, and all those things are interesting. It'll be interesting to see how many of those are needed in the marketplace and how many what their differentiating point is. Like I think it's a super cool technology, especially like if you think of like templated documents, because it's always going to have the name in the same field. It's always going to have the amounts. Like that stuff is I think will become somewhat commoditized. And so what can you do? What can you do in addition to that? Right. So I think
Sure.
will be valuable.
I don't think best in class is going to be or best in a single class. I think more and more you're going to see tools need to
Yeah.
be really good at two or three things. Um,
Yeah.
and,
Your whole
and
conversations around like jump and what does jump want to become and
yeah,
what it like. I mean, that's interesting because like I can tell you with pretty good certainty that whatever like point they're skating to today probably won't be the same point they're skating to 4 years from now, right? Like the things will change and evolve. It's because there's so much new, and like the market is anything but settled, right?
Yeah. No, it is interesting. I came out with a very strong post, was like, Jump is building a CRM. My next post was like, no, Jump's not building a CRM. And then my third post was like, well, Jump should be building a CRM.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, in their case, I think what an interesting point to keep in mind too is like, what is a CRM even needed, right? So
Right.
like, what's like, because that's the thing I think we don't know about the market is how will behaviors and data and all that change, right? So like, I think the specifically like with some of the AI tools, like I think financial planning is going to change quite a bit because you can analyze things and like think about portfolio construction. Um, I got on the phone with some super AI developer who was like running like these like super small sleeves like in his portfolio, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, this is like the day trader like on, for lack of a better word, on steroids, but it's day trading on AI. Like it's just all that stuff is moving so fast and changing. I feel like the market is like a squirrel right now, like trying to just like run across the street and run and get like it's all over the place.
Yeah. No, I think at the end of the day that the companies that have very strong points of view and are innovating innovating quickly, but not innovating like a crazy squirrel. Because I think there are going to be a ton of entrants in the marketplace. I mean, like on the tech map, and I think a lot of them will not make it or be bought or be merged or um,
Yeah, that's not new. I do think. I mean, the world's drowning in tech, but it depends on what you want to do. You can run a small technology shop without spending a ton of money and maybe have a small set of users and
right.
specific use case. Like, there's a lot of really good tech out there that's very small, and so where do they go from here? I think that's important.
I think I'll
But I think
quote you on that. The world is drowning in tech. That'll be the title of one of
it,
my
it,
Substacks.
I mean, it really is. In this, like, if you ask the user, like when they come up, like say like the office admin or like their wealth management assistant will say like, I just can't take anymore. Like I can't take anymore. I can't another system. And so they're tired of the promise of these like integrated tech stack versus the reality of what they're living in every day is not met, right? And so what you're seeing, what really saw with AI this year is I called it like the charlatans convention when I was at like a tech conference because it was like basically people just promising that they can do everything, but without like really being able to do it. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how that settles because the audience, I think that the tide has turned and the audience is skeptical that like, hey, can it really do what you're telling me it's doing in reality, in practice? And like,
Right.
again, that's why I think PreciseFP is, we've got 17 years and 5,000 users. Like we've been doing it and we know how to do it.
Yeah.
So like that's our proof point.
Do you have any particular like client success stories that you could share, or someone had a poor process or onboarding process or data collection process, and then they implemented Precise FP and just really improved it?
Nora, that's your wheelhouse. I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, and I know I'm a visual person, so I personally love doing the customer stories. I
Yeah.
love jumping on calls with our users and just kind of talking shop on how they're using the system and what they're doing with it. I know in this example with Lauren, you'll notice here her quote, "If there's a tool that's not integrating with PreciseFP, it's probably not quite as valuable to my organization." So it's even kind of the tech qualifier is if we integrate it of whether or not she'll use it. But her specifically, she mentioned that she uses Schwab. So we have a amazing integration with Schwab Advisor Center that will send data, but you can also open up accounts using PreciseFP, using the PDF library. And she said it used to take her, 5 days to open up accounts, and now it's taken 2 minutes. So it's really nice to be able to provide that experience. And her use case of PreciseFP is so unique because she literally will not send that engagement to clients at all. Instead, she will pull up the profile of a client and fill everything out on their behalf. She will not, she'll kind of data mine when she needs to pull things up using USPS or whatnot. but she'll put it all in there, and then she'll be able to send it off everywhere else. So I really like talking to her about how she's using the system. And then we've had other offices say, like Suncrest Advisors, they're here in Arizona. They were like, we were at a standstill where we're like, we need to hire somebody new. And instead, they found PreciseFP, and we're like, all right, maybe we don't have to hire anyone new. And I remember he mentioned how when they were interviewing, Starbucks is paying like $21, $25 an hour right now. So he's like, it's not cheap to hire someone today. So being able to use PreciseFP to step in is really nice.
Yeah, no, those are great stories. I know Michael Whitman, I believe, is also a power user of PreciseFP. He's telling me all the workflows that he had set up, which is cool.
Yeah,
All right, well, we're go ahead.
fascinating. It's fascinating just to see how, like any other technology, like Nora and I have like we get to engage with people who know the tool better than us, and like
Right.
have built this, and like, and what they do is they really want to show you, like, look at this cool thing I built with your technology, and like those are the fun conversations for us.
Yeah.
You guys should make your own like Kits' tech map with it's just the integrations, and then you have the little sections like custodians and AI note takers and that you guys integrate with.
Nora, I'm gonna assign that one to you. That sounds like a great idea.
Just ask AI to create this template for you.
Exactly. It's that easy.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
All
it
right.
would make things more digestible. I know some people, if there isn't an integration directly, they'll use PreciseFP as that bridge because they know PreciseFP has that integration. So they'll send it there and get it there
Yeah.
somehow using PreciseFP.
For sure. Any other closing hot takes on data gathering or AdvisorTech as a whole?
No, I think I've already given most of my hot takes. But last thing I'll say is the client data gathering is a critical piece of the process that often takes too long, is too dysfunctional, is too slow, data errors. And so when you're looking at an advisor, like if you own an advisory firm or you run an advisory firm and you're thinking, where can I, up my game in terms of what the client experience is, I think client data gathering might be a pretty good place to start.
For sure.
Yeah, mine is please, please, please don't use pen and paper. Don't use fillable PDFs. I know I had to do a fillable PDF for my daughter's Girl Scouts the other day, and I almost threw my phone out the window. So it's just not a great experience.
For sure. No. Are there advisors you run into still doing that?
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not,
Pen,
yes.
pen and paper. It's like advisors that do their billing with an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes.
Mhm.
Which is pretty common.
Yeah.
Or I'm sure you remember with Simplicity Ops, you would find that advisors still using Excel or Outlook as their CRM, and you're like,
Oh,
no, that's
yeah.
not
No,
it.
we saw all kinds of terrible things happening with CRMs.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate both of you coming
Hey,
on today.
great. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate you having us. Look
Yeah.
forward to talking to you soon.
Have a great weekend. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.